Howdy, we are Bit Engineering and we are presenting the 5 MGD expansion to serve Capstone Wastewater Treatment Plant. I'm Claire Barber.
I'm Christopher Todd.
And I'm Joshua Ince.
Our sponsor is Plumber with Hannah Frowls and Sonia Cook. Our advisor is Dr. Huang and our project manager is Mr. Stark.
For this project, we were brought on to design a 5 million gallon a day increase for this wastewater treatment plant in order to get up to a total of 15 million gallons a day. Along with that, we are needing to improve the effluent quality due to TCEQ getting stricter on their regulations. For our project deliverables, we submit a final report that is sent to our project manager and our client, a proposed site plan, liquids process diagram, solids process diagram, and a hydraulic profile.
Our constraints for the project are cost, size, ease of maintenance, time of treatment, integratability, and effectiveness of treatment. These constraints are what we base our design decision matrices on to make our final solution decision.
This plant was originally made in the 1980s. It's gone through many different treatment processes. TCEQ did a study on the outfall location in 2005. As of right now, it's currently being expanded to 10 million gallons a day. The outfall location of this plant is in Mississippi Creek in Church, Texas. And the discharge permit for this plant was recently renewed in March of 2020. The facility right now utilizes treated solids and reclaimed water on site.
Our design approach breaks down into two different categories. The first being an increase in the plant's treatment capacity, and the second being an increase in the plant's effluent quality. In the first category, in order to increase the plant's treatment capacity, we had to design a solution to increase the aeration volume as well as increase the clarifier volume. These two parameters needed increasing due to TCEQ rules and regulations that were discovered in our literature review. Lastly, we wanted to take a look at the existing treatment units and verify their capacities based on the most recent influent and effluent data to determine if these basically basins were being used as best as they could, or if there was any way we could modify them to squeeze a little bit more capacity out of them. To increase the effluent quality, we analyzed the current influent and effluent data that was given to us by Plumber. This data consists all of the influent characteristics and the effluent characteristics from the plant from the years 2016 to 2019. After analyzing this influent and effluent data, we were able to determine treatment areas of concern at the plant. This happened to be ammonia or nitrogen, phosphorus, and dissolved oxygen. Having identified the areas of concern, we were able to implement or design treatment solutions geared towards targeting these nuisances. The design alternatives we developed also fall into two categories: increasing capacity as well as improved effluent quality. For increasing treatment capacity, we developed three different solutions. The first being additional primary clarifiers with trickling filters. This is the technology that is in use at the plant now and is a rather old technology, and that can be seen in the treatment trains A, B, and C. The next, we looked at a sequenced batch reactor, which basically takes all the different treatment processes of an activated sludge process and combines them into one basin. This is not in use at the wastewater treatment plant capacity as of now. Lastly, we looked at extended aeration without primary or intermediary clarification. This is actually in use at the treatment plant now and was the basis of the most recent expansion to 10 million gallons. For improved effluent quality, we looked at a number of different treatment options. The first being activated algae, which involves live algae feeding on biological nutrients as a food source, and thus reducing their concentration in the effluent. We also looked at post-disinfection aeration capacity, natural and synthetic UV disinfection, and we were also trying to figure out a way to promote phosphorus accumulating organisms in the plant.
For our solution, we use a decision matrix in order to find out which solution was best for increasing the capacity of our plant. As you can see, there's a different category weighting value for each and every category, and cost and integrability, as we found, were the most important for our design, as cost is very important in how the solution will integrate into the plant, into the current plant, are the most important qualities for these. As for our solution, we came out to a weighted total for the increased aeration volume without primary clarification and trickling filter. We did the same decision matrix for improving the effluent, and as was the last decision matrix, the cost was a big factor, and the effectiveness of treatment was another great factor in this, as we need to, as the weighted total for this one is anaerobic basin upstream of aeration basins to promote phosphorus accumulating organisms in order to decrease the biological nutrients that were in our effluent.
This slide shows the projected construction costs broken down by each material. The total quantities for each material were calculated and multiplied by the unit cost to get the total cost. The unit costs were found from bid tabs in the San Antonio water system and through manufacturer contacts. The final cost is shown on this slide. The total prices for each material were added up to be about 1.7 million. The OPCC multipliers were then accounted for as is shown in the table on the right. Once they were calculated, they were added to the original total, and the final construction cost was found to be about 3 million.
For our final design, as seen in the decision matrix, we determined that the best solution for increasing the plant capacity would be to go with an extended aeration basin without primary clarification. The aeration basin that we ended up designing has a length of 200 feet, a width of 75 feet, and a nominal surface water depth of 18.5 feet. We also determined that a large final clarifier would also be needed. This clarifier would be circular in shape with a cone bottom, with a nominal diameter of 150 feet, a surface water depth of 13.5 feet. Both the aeration basin and the final clarifier capacities and surface water depths and lengths and widths are in accordance with the TCEQ rules and regulations. For increasing the effluent quality, it was determined that the best way to solve this problem would be to promote phosphorus accumulating organisms. We determined that the best way to do this would be to build an anaerobic basin upstream of the aeration basin. Anaerobic basin is basically a basin that doesn't have any mechanized or added air into it. This was chosen because phosphorus accumulating organisms thrive in this type of environment as opposed to all the other bacteria that is in raw wastewater. So by the time that all of the raw wastewater enters the aeration basin, the phosphorus accumulating organisms have had time to build and increase their population to a point where they can digest and eat up a lot more phosphorus, and that ultimate phosphorus concentration in the effluent would be lower. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening. Thanks, and Gig'em.